coming to the board to ask for consideration in hiring Brian Sprague. There's a copy of his letter of intent that he'd be willing. He's a certified pool operator, and he's also been a consultant for the pool project since, I think, the day one for us. So we're very familiar with him and his work at Walton in the capacity of the director down at the pool down there. He feels that, and he's very humbled in that he would be willing to volunteer to open and close the pool this year. And he has lots of supporters as far as helping him on the PAC committee or whoever's available. This year he won't have to take the cover off because the Watson will come in, but we will be able to learn the style of that. And Brian wants to observe, and he could take over, and we have full trust in him. So I wondered if we...
Yeah, is there a motion to approve, I guess, sort of hiring him?
Yeah, I make a motion to.
Even though he's not getting paid.
Right. And, the next year, or 2021, if everything is fine, then we probably would hire him. But for next year, he just wants to do it without any pay. So I make a motion that we have Brian Sprague take care of opening and closing the pool for us.
Okay. Is there a second to that?
For the year 2019.
2020.
2020.
Excuse me, 2020.
Second.
A second by Janet. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you. And also for your consideration, or to guide PAC on how to proceed, in your box where it's both the Town of Delhi Recreation Director outline for the newspapers for advertising, and also the advertising for the water safety instructors, lifeguards. And it appears the dates and everything are what they would be based on the established opening date, based on the time frame for the director, flipping back and forth here. However, the only thing that could change and needs to be outlined more thoroughly at PAC next week is the actual deadline date of getting applications in. And we also realize that likely would accept applications after those due dates if in the water safety instructor and lifeguard positions. I'm just anticipating that possibility. So we're asking if you, and I also am in contact and have talked and shown the personnel department, Delaware County. Their first initial thing is that everything's okay. We haven't changed titles, we haven't changed the scope of the positions, it's just the dates, and she's probably gonna get back to me tomorrow. But all of that is pending, depending on the PAC direction. So that and and then we realize the official paper is the Walton paper, Walton Reporter. So I guess we would need your advice on where you feel we could advertise beyond that. If you would ask us not to put it on Facebook or some other medium, we want to be sure to honor how your feelings are about that.
Any thoughts on where else we might want to advertise to pick up more?
Are you thinking like the Catskill Mountain News or something like that over that way, or more in the Oleana area?
You're just talking about social media.
Yeah, I think it's going to come up at our meeting, or it's going to flow down into the pool committee meeting, and we want to give them direction so that it doesn't float where it wouldn't be appropriate.
Yeah.
For the town, the court clerk, we used Indeed.com. We tried to use it last year for this position, but it might be worth trying again.
Yeah, I would agree.
As far as internet presence and reaching younger audience.
Maybe the town website, maybe the pool website.
We can. Update on that. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, the Indeed.com is a good one. So I'm thinking of that.
What do you think if somebody says they want to put it on Facebook?
If they can put a link to what we're offering, that would be.
See, I'm not good and
Best
savvy
way to
with
do
all the
that.
technology, so,
Because it would be on the town website and or Indeed.com, which would be approved.
okay.
That would be a great project for our IT committee.
Ah, look who's talking.
I didn't hear any objections, so I think you're right, Billy.
Why do you think I answered the question, sir?
So I guess I'm just asking, if you feel comfortable with what you've seen and read, if you, feel that you could approve our proceeding with the advertising, after January first, might be January 15th, somewhere in between there. We are going to be very, very conscious of the cost, because in the Walton Reporter, we're running around $138 for those ads. So it's not something that we're going to be doing a lot. So,
Daily Star,
What's that?
to advertise, it's very expensive.
Oh, yeah, Daily Stars.
We did
Very-
So you want these approved? These?
so I wondered if this looks appropriate and okay, if you might approve our proceeding with this for
My only
advertising.
question is, the minimum requirements that are on the Delaware County website, excuse me for looking that up, but, they go into a little bit more detail than what you have here, and,
This was,
which ones?
except for a few changes, the one you have in your box
Mhm.
was approved by the county last year. You're talking about the description for the recreation director.
Mhm, yeah,
Yes, that's why we were worked very closely with them last year,
okay.
so that we had enough information, but we didn't some of the stuff we didn't need that was on there at that time. Maybe down the road, as if everything's recreation is restructured, that we might be able to expand upon that.
Do you have enough time, advertising in January for the recreation director's position? You're requesting that the applications be back by February 14th?
That date could easily change. If we didn't advertise that first week of January, the idea would be definitely to give them 30 days.
Right, okay,
And it could anticipate it possibly stretching further.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, do you want a motion on these, or
Yeah,
make a motion to allow the PAC committee to proceed with the advertising for the recreation director and lifeguard?
Second one.
okay, second by Janet. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Okay. Anything else, Peg?
Oh, I can say really quick, that as far as the committee, under the leadership of Dawn Payne, they have made a lot of strides for ways to, all of this, of course, has to come to PAC, and ultimately, and most importantly, has to come to you. They have established some fundraising, some possible dates, some goals. So it's very exciting, but that will all come to you when they've got a little more structure and it goes to PAC.
Okay.
Fundraising for what types of goals?
Oh, pardon me?
They're doing fundraising for what types of goals?
That's what I asked them, this last meeting, is to have a specific goal or specific, campaign what for. So that's coming up the next meeting for them, and then we would be reporting that, and the 4 dates that they picked for these activities would have to come to you as well.
Some of the new fundraising obviously will be for the second phase playground,
Yeah,
so, that's an ongoing thing there, so.
Yeah.
That playground down there needs to be completely done over.
yeah, we have made a lot of strides in the direction that we need to go with that playground, and, I realize now, and I've gotta talk with, Janet quite soon regarding, the project with the kids at school, because of where we might have to go before we do too much of anything. Leveling ground, in other words.
I would just mention in there too, under recreation, that, I wanted to say that we have pretty much finalized the Parks and Rec grant, so I'm waiting for one one more piece, to get, and then that'll all be put in, and we should be seeing our final payout from Parks and Rec very soon.
Which means we could proceed, with a grant for the, playground.
Yeah, as soon as this one's closed out.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep, thanks, Peg. Personnel committee, anything?
No, everything's good.
Okay, building.
Apparently we're getting a bid tomorrow for the work in the clerk's office.
We hope we are, anyway.
If he doesn't get back to me, Gail has given me a couple of
I'm pretty
names,
sure.
and I will contact them.
I know I talked with Randy Amy about the bid for the work up here. I haven't seen anything. Obviously, we've got to find someone to give us bids for the highway garage roof.
Right.
And Matt and I had also talked about getting bids, I think, in the spring or early summer. We should consider having the entire paved area around the highway, or the town hall, sealed and restriped. But it won't be too much longer if we don't do something, we'll lose what we've got.
Yeah. We really need to probably get some specs together too for the highway garage roof, so we've got something to send out to contractors when we get to that point. Yeah, we probably ought to start working on the paperwork end of that right away. Anything else with buildings?
I don't know if this should come up when we talk about the abstracts, but there was one, abstract that I questioned the, final bill for the work on that office. When I questioned, we initially said that that was gonna have a solid core door, and it ended up with a hollow core door.
Mm-hmm.
And I was told by Kathleen to make it up to us, he was going to cut the other door into a Dutch door. And now I see there's an extra $200 charge here to make it into a Dutch door with a lock set. So, I don't know what you wanna do.
Yeah, I thought I made it pretty clear we needed a solid core door just for sound deadening purposes, and I think they told him a hollow core door. So I don't know, what's the pleasure of the board?
I don't, so,
I don't know whether they're having any issue with noise or not. Have you heard anything from the judge or Kathleen?
No,
what was it, can you just repeat the part about that there was an understanding, yeah, there's a trade-off, cause I wasn't aware of that part.
When I questioned Kathleen about
Yeah.
the new door not being a solid core door, she acknowledged that, and then she was like, well, he's gonna do some extra work on the other door to make it into a Dutch door so that the bottom half can be closed and the top can be open. And I guess my impression from her was that it was just gonna be one thing for another.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that swap, so.
I think we have to presume that he was told to do it, that he'd be paid for it, though. I mean, I'm with you, but we can't not pay.
Yeah.
I think maybe our employee told him, yeah, go for it and bill us for it. I don't, it's not comfortable, sorry. That's my opinion.
I think we need to have a little conversation with our employees that when they're cutting deals like that, it needs to come through the board.
I would agree wholeheartedly.
It's hard to find people to come do the work.
Yes. That's the tough part, is getting somebody to show up
You know,
anymore.
he definitely came down, he did a great job.
Right.
I'm not questioning any of that.
still, there's a way to handle it. But, yeah, I'm with Matt at this point. Pam, we will be a little more diligent with keeping an eye on future projects. Everybody okay with that?
Yep.
Okay. IT,
Dave Gilbert's coming to work with also tomorrow. So this project, which has taken longer than expected,
so we'll be worldwide tomorrow afternoon?
will be updated soon, and then we'll be able to get the ads for, or the links for the ads for any positions. Just speaking
Good.
with Dave, it's,
So we are getting close to being
yes,
fully operational.
yeah.
Sounds like a plan. Any other IT issues? Alright, moving on to code enforcement. Billy,
Yep. For the, why do I have October's again? I think it says
It's
October
just
at the
the date,
top, but it's
hon, yeah.
November's.
I apologize, it's the date, yeah.
Cause there's
Yeah.
definitely
Can't
differences.
get good help, I tell you, I know.
3 building permits issued for the month of November, 13 inspections, as well as, apparently 1 violation at 1889 Peaksbrook Road, which Dale has not spoken to me about, so I can't give you any information.
I think I've heard about it, but I'm not gonna comment because I don't know for sure.
Shouldn't mention the address.
Yeah, it's probably not a good idea to mention that.
Yeah, it's not a good idea to do that.
Okay. Alright, and we all have a copy of the letter from Dale about the stuff that else is growing in her office.
Yep.
So is there a motion to approve the codes report for November?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. I wanted to mention something during the
Sure.
recreation committee, and I forgot to, I'm not on the recreation committee, but the, skate rink was put up 2 weeks ago by volunteers from the college, and I just wanted to read their names so that we could, acknowledge them.
Sure.
They're students who belong to the NECA Club, which is the National Electrical Contractors Association student chapter, and they were excellent. Their names are Garrett Montanez, Demir Banks-Price, Damian DeSorti, Nolan Danielewski, Matt Peretz, and Giovanni Mims. And their instructors were Sammy Drala and Dave Kristen. So they did a great job. And one thing that we should...
Did you get your brother to promise them a bump in their grade if they...
I don't know that. But no, they did it with a smile on their face, and
Oh, that's nice.
and they're excited to skate. But I want to point out something that we learned. We bought that new liner last year, and it was placed right there where we needed it. And we bought the heavy duty one because we wanted it to be a higher quality, longer lasting, and it's twice as heavy as the old one to move. So we used to be able to move it with a few people, and now it's a very, very difficult thing to do. So that's just, anybody who gets involved in this in the future, they should know that the road.
You know,
Yeah.
Could just be that you're getting out of here.
That's true.
Matt, may I have a copy of those names so that I can
Yeah.
quote properly?
yeah, for sure we can get it in minutes.
Yep.
No, you know, have Dave and Sam thank them for all that.
Will do. Yeah, it goes a long way when they, like, in the past, I've written a letter to the president saying these are good dudes, and they love it.
Yeah, it's nice to recognize students that actually help the community instead of just, you know, complain about the ones that are a problem.
Which, I don't wanna get off track, I'll do this in 30 seconds, but there was a thing on Facebook, and it was actually on WBNG, was that the original source of the two students at Delaware Academy who did the clothes
Yes.
drive, or actually they raised money. And I can't remember their names, I'm sorry. Does somebody know the names of the students?
I know one was Kobe Blumch, and I'm pretty sure.
And
it's
Xavier or something, Xavier, sorry, but the
Garfield?
Garpy, Xavier Garpy, I think was the other one. Anyway, they did this great thing, and the news reported it and said there's great kids in Delhi doing this, and it was on the Binghamton News and on their website. And still, there were meatballs from Delhi posting things about Delhi's not good, and, you know, just total nonsense when there
Is
was
that the
this.
politically correct term, meatballs?
But
I
I
gotta
mean,
remember that for later tonight.
they took a moment when kids were being spotlighted and for doing something good, and they muddied it, and it was just weak. So I wanted to re-emphasize that these kids are good.
Yeah. Well worth mentioning. Okay, moving on, Justice Court report. Looks like they raked in some money this month.
Has the new, assistant, is this part of her work?
The new girl, I believe, started
Yeah.
today.
Oh, okay, so this isn't part of her work, this is already, okay.
Is there a motion to approve the Justice Court report?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Clerk's monthly report?
Make a motion to approve?
Alright, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We'll be fine next month when we do these, our report, because it's gonna be taxes next month. I've decided, I think it's a better way for everybody to keep track, or at least, I think it's a nicer way to keep track. We're gonna do two reports for you. One is gonna be the taxes, separated from the
Separated
clerks.
from the-
Yeah, I'm gonna separate them out, yeah.
Good idea. Supervisor's financial report. The good news is we're not out of money yet. Got months to go, but. Any questions? Any more questions?
I have no questions.
Can we, are we on the, oh, you're still on the financial reports.
Okay.
Motion to approve the supervisor's report,
So moved?
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Supervisor's county report. I've just reached the end of my road. I'm totally disgusted with the way DPW and some others are handling the siting for the highway garage. I feel like I'm living in a third world banana republic that has a dictatorship that if they don't get their way, they kill the opposition and revolt.
Mr. Supervisor, could you just speak up? I don't want to miss a word of this.
We've been told for months now that the plan was the satellite garage and a smaller repair shop. Now, all of a sudden, out of the blue, almost exactly 3 years to the date we got blindsided at the organizational meeting, they're now bringing back, as of yesterday, now I hear there's 3 different plans that they propose on doing a presentation on, which I guess after they got some flack, they've decided not to do them tomorrow, but sometime, probably one of the meetings in January. And I honestly cannot understand how you have a resolution, you vote no on it, and then turn around, ask for another resolution, it gets approved, and then a year later, 2 years later, you try to revote. So, I've voiced my displeasure. It's probably gonna get repeated again on the board floor. But I'm hoping enough supervisors say, you know what, this is a done deal. There's no reason to be bringing up McFarland Farm again. So, we'll see what happens. I know there's some that think when you vote, that's the end of the story, and that's the way it should be. Because I don't know where you put the cutoff. If you're gonna keep re-voting until you get your way, well, what's to stop the other side from coming back and re-voting again? So I don't know. We kept getting told it's an emergency, we gotta get a building, and it's been 3 years, and they've made no progress and spent hundreds of thousands of dollars. So, like I said, that's my political, semi-correct statement on this, but I've been hounded by every newspaper out there for a statement, and I'm fed up. It's just ridiculous, so.
I would certainly hope that when January comes, and it's time to re-elect the chairman of the board, that you make a very serious thought of picking somebody else, because Tina is the problem, that's why this is going on. She is a poor leader, and we wouldn't be in this situation if she was doing her job, but she's not, and she needs to be replaced. And she's needed to be replaced for a while. This project should be in the capital projects committee, that's where it belongs, it should have been there to begin with. And the only reason this whole fiasco is going on is because we have no leadership and with the supervisors, because Tina is not doing her job. It's as simple as that. She needs to go. She just doesn't know how to do the job. She's a very poor leader. Simple as that. So I hope the supervisors will really put some serious thought into who they're gonna put in that position next year, because she shouldn't be there again.
Anybody else on the board have any comments?
I have many, many comments, but I'm not gonna, all I wanna say is that I think that we as the Delhi Town Council should pass a resolution that says, as we were, and always will be, we're opposed to the county buying more property in our tax base to do this project.
We've already passed a resolution saying that we will
I think we need to do
stand
another,
against this in court.
yeah, I think we need to do another
That's still valid.
resolution to pass at the year-end meeting, so we can get something in front of them again in January. That we're just fed up, you know, as far as I'm concerned, it's a slap in the face. I asked Wayne Reynolds 3 years ago not to do the presentation at the organizational meeting because I knew there was a change in leadership coming. He promised me he wasn't going to do it, and we walked in and got blindsided. I said, now it's, I don't know. I really don't know what they're thinking. I'm just fed up.
So we'll do a resolution at the end of the,
Yeah,
end of your.
I think we need to do a resolution, and I will get, the dates and the resolution numbers of everything, so we can put it in there as part of our whereas resolution, whatever was approved, and which one was disapproved. Just to remind everybody that this has been settled, and it shouldn't be coming up again. Anywho, on a happier front, we're in the final stages of getting our building plans together and our bid documents to put everything for mental health out to bid early 2020, and hopefully get started late spring, early summer of 2020.
So, just to draw a comparison, how long have you been, working with the, capital projects on this mental health?
That's probably been, well, Jim Eisel set that committee up, so it was probably a little over 3 years ago. But in that time, and I mean, it's gone slower than I would like to see it. I'm too used to working in the private sector, I guess, but in that time, we had to find a site. We've done all kinds of soils testing because we had one site that was an illegally filled wetland, the other site had a PCB spill next door. So we've had to do our due diligence, and site selection, then we've, been working on the plans. We were almost done with the plans, and, the board decided to go ahead and close in the balance of the second floor for future use, instead of having it available like the public safety building, but not closed in.